Watch out, Italy. There's a new leaning tower on the block. Hello, and welcome to a pretty special episode of Let's Fix It. In today's episode, you may not be able to see the full scale, but we have a very large stack of computer towers. Now, there are two that we won't be fixing today. This is the Transonic PC here, and the Mitsubishi CX series. This one I don't have a power supply for, and I don't know what's wrong with the Mitsubishi at the moment. So we're going to subtract these two from the equation. But every other PC, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 machines, we're going to hopefully fix today. So I'm down here on the floor next to this delightful little Fujitsu Siemens Scenic ED1170 desktop PC. This used to belong to a family member many years ago, and unfortunately, I'd say in late 2018, well no, 2017, around that era, the computer unfortunately passed away. The original fault was unknown, but I did eventually destroy the motherboard. Due to my own incompetence trying to remove the CPU, trying to reseat it, and I knocked something off the board. Yeah, could have been fixable, but it was so close to so many other components that it probably wouldn't be worth it. So I've located a replacement board, which is in a box just next to me, right here, and we're going to install it. So let's just take the PC apart, purely uncut. So we pull the thing forward and then hoist the lid open and off. Set the case aside. The full model number is A4D1170, so it's a Rev A4. Stuff to do with A4 paper, who knows. And to make it as easy as possible, we're going to remove as much as possible. So we're going to take the optical drive out. Set that aside. It is a Pioneer DVR108 DVD-ROM drive. In fact, it's so fancy it's got a cooling fan in the back. That's how you know your DVD drives are quite fancy. Then we've got to remove the floppy disk drive, and to do that we remove a small screw on the front and then remove this entire tray, which should come out without any problem. Oh, that's because it's still plugged in. Here we go. Just wiggle it back and forward till it comes out. Set that off to the side. And I'm going to feed all the power supply cables off to the side as well. Don't need all those in the way. Now there are a bunch of standoffs still in its place. Fingers crossed the main board fits. It should. It's a spare that I had on hand, rather conveniently. So we're going to remove the centre locking bar in the middle by removing 4 screws, just so I know where they go, and keep them together. So there's one at the front, one just slightly behind it. I think these hook the strength bar to the sheet of metal that holds the FDD in place. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's helpful. So we slide that out and off to the side. And then there's a screw at the back here, just holding the metal bar in place. There we go. That just comes out, exposing the entire case. So it's a pretty small case. Nonetheless, should work. Let's remove the motherboard from the packaging that I put it in. I like to keep things nice and safe when I'm working, so I stick them in bubble wrap because I have spare bubble wrap lying around. An IO shield, but we won't be needing that because it's already got one. yeah. So here's our main system board. Let's stick it in the case, being very careful. It's got a CR2032 already installed, but I'm not going to trust it because who knows how long that battery's been sat on that board for. Yeah, it's just a matter of wiggling the motherboard around, trying to get it in. So with the motherboard installed, we're going to screw it in. If I can locate my screwdriver, right here. Got some spare screws that I have accumulated over the many years of computer collecting. So we're going to fasten the motherboard to the case. Carefully, of course, we don't want to damage anything in the process. Now none of these screws are particularly matching, so I'm going to choose as many of the matching ones as possible. And if we run out, big deal, I'll just use the non-matching ones. It's not like it's going to matter very much because no one's going to see it. And I'm not a perfectionist. My builds are truly to be taken as entertainment and not how-to guides. Unless you want to follow them as a how-to guide, which I kind of condone unless I'm doing something overly risky with power supplies or whatever. Rather not have that legal trouble. Just check that I haven't knocked any components off like last time, which we haven't. So all the screw holes line up, so the motherboard is officially screwed in. Now I do believe, oh yes, the front panel connectors. Now this is a thing that baffled me many moons ago. It's a components that I've never had particularly good luck with. But what I did is I found on the internet a guide. Well, not a guide, a pinout of what pins it's supposed to go on. So we're going to open up where I've stored it. In this case it's OneDrive. We're going to get all these cobwebs, nasty things off that might be preventing a good connection. There it goes, I found it. It's called D1170 front panel. So there are two rows of pin headers here and here, just below or just above the RAM slot. Now the bottom one is for the PC speaker and a bunch of other things, which we don't need, so we want the pin headers at the top. Power on off reset, so we don't want it all the way over at one side. So the orange wire, oh no, not over these pins. Yeah, pin 1 and 2 aren't being used. So these three power on LED. So we look for orange, green and yellow, and it goes into one of the LEDs. So that's good. Yeah, so I'm just going to assume that it goes this way around. Power on off is at the edge where reset is. I don't want to use reset, so I'm going to move that over a couple sets of pins. Oh, this is ridiculous. Why do they make the connector bigger than the pins? Power on off. Yes. HDD LED should be immediately next to that. Yes. Then message LED and power on LED. Yeah, those should be the correct orientation. Now, of course, if they're not, that's completely my fault. So that's now connected, which is excellent. So we're going to move on to the hard drive now. The hard drive I've kept up here on this shelf overnight, which is probably not a good idea to keep hard drives in a garden shed overnight, but I can't do much about that. It's still got its original screws in it from when it was originally installed. It used to be in this Dell. I know you can't see it. There's a Dell just off to the left. Optiplex GX110 tower, one of the old beige ones. I like it, but it's it had to become the Windows 98 chip again to also become another PC later in life. I think I might upgrade it to Windows Me. So we're going to continue, we're going to press on. I'm going to remove the hard drive connectors. Right here. And we're going to attempt to install it. I say attempt, even though it's quite easy. Well, easy is an understatement. It's it's as easy as you make it. So I'm now going to hook the hard drive into power. So there are two connectors here. We've got these two which go off to the floppy drive and another hard drive, so we'll fold those out of the way. We've got connector P4 which is going to plug into the Seagate hard drive at the bottom. I just want to make sure that it's set to master, which it should be. I'm pretty sure I did set all of the drive labels appropriately. That's set to cable select. Yeah, cable select is fine. As long as the hard drive's on master, it's fine. So yeah, that's plugged into here, and then what was also installed was one of these, a Molex cable splitter. Yep, plugged one of those in, and also one of these. So I think it was, yes, IDE 1 and 2 and an IDE 3 and 4. So the hard drive is plugged into 1 and 2 because that's the primary IDE bus, should be. Strange. I don't know, maybe not then. Because that's not as far away as I'd like it to be. Yeah, this is going to get really annoying with the power supply in the way, so we're going to remove the power supply. We don't need the power supply for now. Oh, I forgot it's still plugged into the hard drive. Let's just unplug that. Remove that from the equation, we don't need that. So, since this is a single connector IDE, you plug that in the hard drive there. There we go. Plug that in like that. There. So that's the primary hard drive installed. I'm going to look at the secondary hard drive here, the Samsung. Yeah, that's set to master, so yeah. This drive goes at the bottom. You see it's on rails. So you just slide it in. Should just slide in with ease. Yeah, there we go. Just like that. And your optical drive will go in on top of that. Some do need to be pushed into... oh, I know why. That didn't go in properly on the rails. So we're just going to wiggle that back out. Much better. So we've installed the disk drives. So those are now plugged in. So there should be an IDE cable up here somewhere, which should have... no, that's a single cable. That's not going to work. Here we are. This one's got two things on it, so you can see it's got primary and secondary. So this plugs into IDE 3 and 4. We'll fold the brunt of the cable away out of view. There we go, so that goes in here, and this goes up here into that drive, and then we just fold them out of sight. And the next part, we're obviously going to install the power supply, so it goes fan facing this way. Push it so that it lines all the screw holes up. Now it's basically just a matter of plugging all the cables in. So we've got the 20 pin for the motherboard, that's the biggest cable, and then you've got your individual Molex power cables. Oh cool, blimey, this is going to be difficult. Yeah, there we go. That goes in there. One splits off and goes down to there. There we go. That's good. Another one up there. And then again, excess is folded away. We're gonna find a reasonable path the others can go. Lovely. So now that we've installed those drives, the next stage is to install the SCSI drive, where the SCSI drive goes. So it's this drive here, it's an IBM DNES 309170, 9 whole gigabytes, and the biggest hard drive is actually the Samsung drive, it's a 20 gigabyte, whereas the Seagate is 1 gigabyte, or 1 point something gigs, and the IBM's obviously 9 gigs. Now, I don't know which way to mount the drive. I think it's better to mount it the correct way up. I was going to originally mount it upside down, which I may actually have to do now. Who knows? Oh, H. Oh yes. Oh, maybe there was supposed to be a drive mounted here after all. I always thought that these 3.5 slots are always for floppies. Yes, lovely. So now we go about installing the IBM. It is so difficult. And I know I'm not mounting them correctly, but in all honesty, I'm going for speed here because I don't want this video to be 3 million hours long, but this is the first PC, we've still got 5 to go. So, deal with it. If you don't like long videos, then just simply click away. I mean, you don't have to stay. Okay, there's another one, and then this screw should just effortlessly fit into there. Lovely. So now we can tighten the other 2 screws up on the other side. I think we should probably do memory now. So I'll go fetch the memory, which I rather conveniently have. Here's one I made earlier. And what we need are these 2 sticks here of Transcend PC100 desktop memory. Wow. I didn't know that my father's father had good tastes in memory. Or actually no, I believe my father built this. My father has good taste in memory. Either way, decent taste, because Transcend made some really good RAM. I know this is probably not really a fix, you know. Probably what's going to annoy some people. They're not saying, well, this isn't let's fix it, this is let's build it. No, it's technically fixing, because this computer broke, and I'm fixing it. So, it is technically fixing. So, the memory is installed. Lovely. So let's put the case back together. So got the T-bar at the back, it's T-shaped, feeds in here. I'll eventually figure out how this stupid case works. There we go. Lovely, lovely. So, where's the screw? There it is. Almost lost it there. again, I'm working off the floor in the garden shed. What do you expect? This quality is obviously not going to be as good, but deal with it. Because I'm not going anywhere. This is my hobby, and I like it just the way it is. Then we've got this little metal plate that all the stuff hooks into. And pretty sure that's what these two screws here were for. I might have mixed the screws up, but in all honesty, they're screws. It's not like Fujitsu put a DRM on what screws go where. Unlike Apple, probably in the year 20,000, when every screw is serialised. Have you stripped a screw? Tough luck, buy a new iPhone. Oh, what hell that would be. Oh, crap. Are you serious? Well, whichever German designer back in the 2000s thought, I know, let's make this case a very specific design. And what they've done is they've made it so that fat screws won't actually fit. So that's very helpful, Mr. German designer. I mean, this is partly engineered by both Japan and Germany, because Fujitsu's Japanese and Siemens is German. Please to me at least the front screws are going. Oh, it seems like it doesn't even like the thingy screws. Well, maybe I should have installed this first and then stuck the new things in. I don't know. No, it just won't go in. Oh no, it just narrowly clears these screws here, narrowly. So I suppose it did kind of work in the end. But at the same time, it's now moved everything out of place, and I can only screw one of these in. There's no way in hell I'm getting the other screw in. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it and put this one back in the pot, wherever the pot's gone. Oh, there it is. So now we've installed all that, you can screw this little screw in on the front. And go about plugging all the power cables in for these hard drives. Oh no, that's not long enough apparently. You know what, I'm just going to steal the cable from there. So P2 now goes in. Yeah, P2 is now feeding the DVD-ROM drive, and the Molex extender is going to feed. Is the black pin coming out? What's going on here? There we go, just plug that back in. There we go. And then that can just be fed away out of sight again. Okay, fine, just have it all like that then, it doesn't really bother me. And now there's another problem we've got to deal with, and I've just realised that I don't actually have a floppy cable. No, I don't. Come on, how can I not have any floppy cables? Isn't that the cardinal rule of owning vintage computers? You've got to have floppy... Oh, I do, but it's MFM. I mean, I suppose it'll work. Just don't tell anyone about it. Well, this is all going downhill. No, we're not going to do the SATA. Oh, I think we're going to have to do the SCSI. I don't know what SCSI ID this drive was on. Does it matter? Because no, this one goes into the card. You know, let's do the expansion cards now, considering I've got all these cables. Oh no, let's do the ID first. Well, this one up here has got a big X on it, so we won't be using that. At least the main connector is regular floppy. So move that out of the way, and let's uncover the what's-it, the floppy port. Well, that's irritating. It doesn't even have a spacer that tells you what way it's supposed to go in. Now luckily, if you know floppies, well, if you know IDE in general without a notch, then you know that the purple dots on the cable point towards the Molex connector in every circumstance. Doesn't matter if it's a floppy drive or it's a IDE hard drive or a SCSI hard drive in this. Well, no, SCSI doesn't matter because it's different. But it doesn't matter. Whatever drive it is, always points towards. Yes, red always points towards the Molex. Oh no. This is in a really inconvenient spot. I'm very sorry about all this. You probably can't see anything I'm doing. So I will monologue what I'm doing instead. So what I'm doing is I'm feeding the cable into a good enough position where it will fit into the floppy drive. It's better be worth it. There we go. There we go. Once you've installed that, floppy power. This appears to be all going wrong. I don't like it. Okay, so that's all the cables plugged in. That's not all the cables plugged in, I've just realised that I'm missing the SCSI drive. This is the CD audio cable. So that plugs into here. Yeah, there we go, CD audio. I don't know, maybe one end goes into the CD drive and the other end goes into the motherboard. Maybe this end goes in here. Oh no, I'm plugging it in upside down. I'm such an idiot. Oh, there we go. Feed the cable away through many different areas, and then it should say CD on the motherboard where it plugs in. Awesome! So, we've done that now. Feed that away. And now we've got the cards. Now, again, I don't know what orientation the cards went in, so we're going to rely on the internet for help. In this case, I did take pictures years ago, and those would be in my Google Drive. And considering I did recently look them up, they should just be in the recent files section. Wait for Google Drive to load, because Google Drive does take quite a bit, especially on the app. Does that happen to anyone else? I'm not sure. Wow, that camera really does show my acne. Not good. I mean, well, it is a high definition camera. I want to go home. There we go. Oh dear. Okay, yeah, this should help. Yeah, this PC was pretty crammed up, even when I didn't take it apart. Okay, so we've got what appears to be a modem, then a USB port, then the SCSI, then the LAN adapter, which I all have, which I haven't prepared, because I don't care. Man, it is really hot in here. Oh. Gonna turn the fan on. Oh no, I can't reach the fan because there's too much stuff in the way. Oh. Okay, fine, I'll cook to death. I'll make my last moments on Earth worth it. If my life was even worth anything to begin with. I digress. And where did my phone go? Oh, there. So, yes, here is the LAN card, which goes in the slot closest to the motherboard. So, right here. Oh dear. That didn't sound very healthy at all. Just gonna anchor this down with as much force as possible. I mean, it's fully seated in. And there we go. There's our modem. And then what's next? SCSI. I left the SCSI card up there. Here it is, an Adaptec SCSI card. Very nice. That's not fitting in very well. Where's that? No, it's not going to fit. For some reason the thing's like bent. Yeah, the card is actually bent here. It's not actually fitting whatsoever. Not anywhere. That's worrying. Well, we don't have to put that in immediately. We can always skip that part out. Though I really shouldn't. Oh no, that's because the USB card is supposed to go after the modem. Again, I am an idiot and I don't follow instructions. Again, not fitting in very well. What is this? Oh no. Yeah, it's just... I think the case is actually warped. From all the rough handling I've been doing with it while there was nothing inside it years ago, I think it's probably just been deformed. No worries, I'll just install a screw and we'll make it really tight, and it should just, you know. Just stay put. Oh no, this is one of those stupid screws with the smaller thread. I've got it stuck. Nothing can go any worse. Nothing can get worse. Everything's already gone wrong as it is. I'm gonna make sure that there's no shorts. Which there shouldn't be. Yeah, it looks the part. Now it needs to play the part. No, yeah, it's these weird little things. There's these little metal tassels, I'm going to call them, off the side, because there's this little grounding strip or whatever attached to the side of the case. And it's not really helping my case when I'm trying to install these expansion cards. Use a very nice, fresh looking screw here. Luckily this doesn't look as bent as I thought it would. So this connector here, it's not going, oh no, it's because SCSI's only one way. Why didn't I know that? I should have known this stuff, it's basic, it's common frickin' sense. So it's either, yeah, I think these two were buried under here somewhere. And then this, I just unplugged power just to get the SCSI cable under there. Should just plug into here. Oh yeah, and last but not least, a lovely LAN card, just so that we can enjoy internet connectivity. Again, it suffered the same issue where it's not slotting in. Because it's bent. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so just had to give it a bit of persuasion, and then it eventually went. Yes, everything's all installed now. Lovely, lovely. This should just go all the way together now, because I think that's it. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I need to add, and that's for longevity's sake, because I've lost the original fan shroud, which basically forces the CPU to cool itself using the power supply fan, I've lost that, so instead we're just going to plug a regular 3-pin, I can't reach it, yeah, it's a regular 3-pin computer fan into here, although I just realised the fan is much bigger than the heatsink, and there's no method of actually attaching the fan. Well, how am I supposed to cool the CPU then? I don't want to kill it. Well, that's irritating. So there's no actual way of attaching this. This is not a real heatsink, I've just noticed. There's no clip. This is just a thing that you just stick onto the... Cheeky buggers. Well, that's obviously not ideal, but I suppose I can always just rest the fan on the heatsink, just for testing. Yeah, just for testing purposes. Everything should all be plugged in. I don't think there's a single connector I've missed out. No, you've gone somewhere. Yeah. So let's test her out then. So I'm going to need a... Well, I'm going to stop here, I'm going to tidy up, and then I'll restart later. So, here we are. I've got a little monitor here, which you can see, hopefully. And we're going to plug in our power cable. Just check the power supply switch hasn't changed. Well, it's starting out. Oh, there you go. Fujitsu Siemens computers. It's showing up on the screen, although you can't see anything. There. Look at it. It's beautiful. It's working. Well, it seems it seems to have been stuck on something. I don't know what it's trying to do. I'm glad it posts. But normally this IBM drive is supposed to start up alongside everything else. And this might be because it's a different board, which isn't good. The CPU fan is working. Power supply fan is working. Yep. That's working. Oh. Resource conflict. PCI in slot 1. Wrong hard disk configuration. Oh dear. So the CMOS battery is dead. It's a Celeron processor. It should be a Pentium 3. It's bad. It only detects the Seagate drive, which is annoying. Yeah, configuration data updated, CMOS checksum bad, wrong hard disk configuration, and resource conflict. So this entire computer is basically broken. It's less broken, but it is still broken. Why doesn't anything work when I try it? When I turn the camera on, everything goes wrong. Yeah, it only detects the Seagate drive, all the rest of the hard drives are not showing up whatsoever, which is actually terrifying. Because that means I'm going to have to go back into that spaghetti mess of explosion of cables and figure out what's gone wrong. Well, at least the CD-ROM drive is doing something. Please tell me that these two LEDs are working as well. Well, one LED is working, and that's the hard drive one. Why is the hard drive LED stuck on solid green? Unless I've plugged it in on... I've just... yeah... I've half-assed put this computer together and it's just not working. None of it is working. Adapter scan. Resource conflict. I don't know what that means. Maybe it still works? No, it doesn't. It's bricked. The whole thing is bricked. Well, that's not good. I think I might have put the LEDs the wrong way around, because this one's orange. It should be around the power LED side of things. Yeah, I think I've plugged things in the right way, it's just I haven't connected them the right way around. And of course the only way to get to it is by, well, reaching into the forbidden, reaching into the abyss of forbidden horrors. I need to use a screwdriver just to navigate. Yeah, so I'm going to sort things out off camera, but this is roughly fixed, sort of, but I'm going to still do some things. Hang tight. This next computer right here is this Dell machine. It's a Dell Dimension 3100. Now the hard drive in here actually physically exploded exploded due to something I did. The computer killed it, but I didn't make it go bang. So we're going to put a new hard drive in. We're going to reinstall the operating system, which I conveniently have on hand. So first of all, we're going to open the PC up. It's rather hot because it's been sat in the sun for a while. And the power supply is quite warm. In fact, everything is quite warm in that PC. So what I'm going to do is simply, we're going to take this little plastic thing here and the hard drive, and we're basically just going to install it into the caddy, which you couldn't possibly see me do. There we go, like that, nice and simple. And then what we're going to do is we're going to simply slot it into the case. Preferably in the top row. So then we just fold the hard drive SATA cable back so there's not that much slack in it, so it looks professional and neat. And there we go, so that's the hardware side of things done. So we're going to put the side back on. And there we go. So that's basically, technically one fixed PC, but we're going to take it one step further and install the operating system. So I'm going to clear things up, and we're going to set the PC up and perform a little bit of software installation. So that's the screen, which is largely washed out, but it won't be after a while. We're going to plug the USB into the front, like so. And then we're going to restart the computer. The Dell logo should come up, which you couldn't possibly see. So we're in the BIOS at the moment, and we need to change the setting that allows us to boot off USB. So we need to go into here. Maybe it doesn't have that option. Oh well, we can just escape out of that. And then Control-Alt-Delete, should be an F12 menu. Spam F12. Oh. Maybe it doesn't like being spammed. It's fine. Onboard SATA hard drive, USB device. There we go, Windows setup, so it should be working now. Well, unfortunately, I can't seem to get my Windows USB stick to work in this Dell, so unfortunately we're going to have to cut the repair off here. It is still fixable, it just needs to be installed through some sort of other method. Perhaps maybe installing Windows XP using a CD first, and then reinstalling using the Dell one. I'm not really sure, but at the moment, unfortunately, we are going to have to move on to the next computer in the pile. This is the next PC on the pile. It is an AMD FX desktop PC. The front's coming off. Now what's wrong with this is, of course, it says quite obviously on the top, it says fault missing power supply. And they're not lying, because it literally has no power supply. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a power supply and see how far that gets us. This computer might actually be maybe one of two that are actually fixable. Well, fully fixable. I mean, I don't know, I feel like I've fixed some machines today, even if they weren't as far as I'd like them to be. Software repairs don't really go well when I film them, so I try not to do them. So, I'd say that Dell does work. It's fine, it just needs to be installed. So this is the power supply we're going to be using. It's a Pulse PPS 500VR 500 watt power supply. So this should be, this should easily be able to handle a tri-core AMD FX processor. I believe the AMD FX is a tri-core, I'm not sure. Could be quad-core. Well, I think they were supposed to be quad-core, but they turned off one of the cores because it was broken. That's how tri-cores came from, because faulty cores. It's a very interesting story, but we're not here for history, we're here for repairs, so in theory, what I've got to do here is just feed this up here and screw it in. And even that's easier said than done, because this requires, yes, this step requires 3 hands and I only have 2. So if you happen to be a mutant or an alien, then this step should be a doddle for you. But any fellow humans, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Now, these power supplies are, well, they're designed in such a way that you have to cram them in like a really, really tiny gap just to get the screws in, so bear with me. And I'm very sorry that my camera work is not best. So many distractions have happened today, with the dog running around and Fujitsu not working the way I wanted it to, me dropping my screwdriver. I should probably just give up while I'm at it, you know. Should just stick to watching videos rather than trying to make them. Sure, there are plenty of people out there that would agree, and many that probably would say, nah, keep trying. I mean that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep trying. I'm not just going to disappear off the face of the earth. That won't happen for a long while yet. At least until I decide that I'm completely finished and I don't want to do anything anymore. But that will never happen, because I'm easily amused. So, we've installed the power supply, very nice. It looks beautiful, it works amazingly with the black case, even though this originally had a silver power supply in it. So the next step here, so the camera can see me plug things in, is attaching all of the cables and harnesses and stuff. Right. So we need 3 SATAs. We've got 1, 2. We've got 2 SATAs. That's brilliant, but we need 3 of them. We also need to plug in the 12-volt power, which you can easily do right here. Oh, plugs in this way around. I forgot, every connector is keyed. They only go in one way. Oh yeah, I forgot the power LED in here is actually powered from Molex for some reason. Don't ask why, it just is. plug this SATA into the bottom hard drive. I don't know which drive is the boot drive, so that's why we're going to get myself a SATA to Molex splitter for the optical drive, because I'm not an idiot. At least if we blow the optical drive up, I can replace it. If we blow the hard drives up, I'm not going to like things very much. Just feed that out the way. And get rid of the floppy connector, because we ain't going to use it. This computer's far too modern for antique floppy connectors. And then we're just going to plug in the 24-pin ATX, which, oh my god, that goes in like a charm. It just slots right in there. Maybe this power supply was actually built for this machine, because every other machine I've had to push it in like really hard, and this just goes in there. Now we need a Molex splitter, because I don't have one. But luckily, in the drawer just out of sight is full of brand new SATA to Molex adapters from StarTech. I heard the StarTech ones are the best ones. All the cheap Chinese ones explode. So, well, if this one catches fire, then that's my fault. Of course, I highly recommend you don't use these, because these are horrible. So we plug this in over here, like so, just like so, fold that away into this little extra drive slot. Let's unplug the SATA so I can see what I'm doing. Lovely. Just fish the SATA cable out, plug that in here. Absolutely, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Ah, yes. And feed away the excess out of sight. So, that's that. That's finished. So make sure the fans are freed up. Well, power supply one's obviously going to go to spin. Swap the side panel back on, and well, these are thumb screws, but I like to tighten them up with a screwdriver, because I'm a masochist, and I like causing extra pain for myself when it comes to unscrew them again. I mean, I'm probably not the only one that screws in thumb screws with the screwdriver, so don't worry. And then out of sight, because the lens is not pointing at me. I guess my repairs can be humorous, although I feel horrible for them not going well. We're here to have fun. We're not here to be serious. I don't do this as a business. We're here to goof around. This would have been in the bin otherwise. It probably wants to be in the bin, who knows? I mean, the power supply could just combust the moment I plug it in. Go away, fan. We are not doing fan repairs today. If we were doing fan repairs, I would be in my element. Oh, crap. I hate these motherboards with single PS2 ports. They agitate the hell out of me. Because why? Just have both of them. There's not that much space being compromised. But no, we had to slap a couple extra USB ports on there. Because fancy. Yes, brilliant. Alright, so we're going to use the Kensington keyboard. Or actually, no, screw that. We're using the RM keyboard because I like it. That can go in the PS2 port. VGA, goes in the VGA port. This monitor does have HDMI on it, but I don't have any HDMI capable equipment because what am I, made of money? I was born in the Stone Age, so I'm going to use Stone Age equipment. There we go. Now I'm going to tilt the camera up just a slight bit so you can see this monitor, even though you probably won't be able to see anything on the monitor. And I've also tilted it away from the power supply so that when it goes bang you won't see it. Haha, okay, crackle, power on. Okay. Oh, it's turning on. Okay. The PC is powering on. The power LED is coming on. And we've got no video signal. Oh dear. That is not good. But no worries. This is a computer repair channel, so we're going to repair this problem. So I'm going to take the side panel back off. That's another rule that you should probably abide by. Don't put the case on before you've actually finalised the machine. Because when you do that, you just create extra work for yourself. So just don't put the side panel back on. Don't be a fool like I was. And I believe this motherboard has a memory OK button somewhere, so I'm just gonna, there we go, push that. Maybe we should try Control-Alt-Deleting. It doesn't appear to be posting at all. That's not good. I always thought this was some sort of issue with the video out. Hard drives are spinning. Oh. And it turns itself back on, because it wants to, okay? Maybe that fixed something. Let's see. Usually turning things off and on again fixes things. Not in this case, though. Right. Let's turn the power off, unplug it, and I'm going to remove the CMOS battery, which you can't see me do because, again, I'm sitting on the floor in my shed. What do you expect? Supposed to be Hollywood quality? Not fancy, you know. I've lost my screwdriver. Hilarious. Right, I'm going to use my fingers instead. Right. BIOS battery is removed. So, put the power back into the computer. Or actually no, what we need to do is we're going to hold the power button, discharge all the capacitors. My god, this fan is filthy. Am I going to clean it? No, can't be bothered. Can the CPU breathe? Yes. Yeah, the heatsink's slightly clogged, but it's not going to pose any issues for now. It can still breathe, so. Alright. Oh, we've got a red flashing LED just above DRAM LED. I think this is where we... Oh, was that the power cable? Oh, it's the power cable's coming in. Plug that back in. Yes, so the DRAM LED light is flashing, so we're going to press DRAM OK. Hey! And just like that. There we go, Asus M5A88-M. And it's going to say, "You pulled the BIOS battery out, how could you, you evil demon?" But that's fine. We're just going to press F2 to load default values and continue, because we don't care, because that's just the date and time. And the video settings. It's all going to default back to VGA anyways. And everyone knows that VGA is the best game. And there we go, and it's loading the windows. It was loading the windows. Bruh. What happened to my Windows 10? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't like Windows 10. I've still got a video signal, so maybe it's just defaulted to a different display. Oh no, there we go. Wow, that booted really quick. There we go. 10:33, Sunday the 6th of September. Excuse me. That's wrong. Can I just... There's no drivers for the keyboard or the mouse. Or the whole computer's frozen. Oh no. Visitor. Ah, so this has got accounts on it. Maybe I'll just try password. No. No one's stupid enough to have password as their password. But it's worth a shot. Yeah, I think it's frozen. The computer's locked up. But, hey, no, it hasn't locked up. The keyboard has locked up, so the computer is fine. Just the keyboard doesn't want to live, which is perfectly fine by me. Because this keyboard doesn't like Windows 10. It's like me. It doesn't like Windows 10. And it's an RM keyboard anyways. If you shut down, other people will lose their work. What work? This computer hasn't been powered on since 2017. So of course we're going to shut the computer down again. I said shut the computer down, not restart. Oh no, I forgot Windows 10 turns the video signal off before it turns the computer off. It's stupid, why does it do that? Anyways, so yeah, the PS2 keyboard doesn't work, but we've basically fixed this computer now. It boots, and we probably do need to reset all the BIOS information settings, but I'll do that off camera because I'm not going to bore you with all that crap. But anyways, yeah, this AMD FX computer is perfectly working now. It's fixed, got a new power supply, it's fine, it's beautiful. So, unplug that. So, that's that one done. So we're going to move on to the next computer, which is actually quite fat. It's actually the largest computer we have here. So I'm just going to unplug all these wires, and I'll see you in a few minutes. If I can find the end record button. Now this is a Zigmatech gaming PC, or was a gaming PC. It's not anymore because the GPU has been stolen. So it is basically just a desktop computer. It's a custom built machine. It smells of tobacco. So that's lovely. The screws don't fit properly, which is even better. The case looks like the case just doesn't want to live anymore. The case just is barely held together. In fact, I don't think this side panel is held on very well. No. And of course, because the case is black, it's 3000 degrees in here, which is probably not going to help our case with the motherboard. So it's got Guile, or Geil, or Gile, or I don't know how you pronounce it, G-E-I-L RAM. Never heard of this company before. They sound crap. They probably are crap. So, let's just plug the computer in and see what it does, because unlike the others, this is the only computer that has an obvious fault with it. So we're going to angle the... well, fix the tripod. Yes, I'm using one of those little flexi tripods because, again, I don't have the fancy tripod. Although I really do want one. Maybe I should ask for one. Assuming that's recording. I don't know. I can't see anything. In fact, no, I'm just going to let's confirm it's recording. Yes, it is. So you can see the screen. Yeah, unlike the other computers, I have no idea what's wrong with this one. I haven't tested it at all. Unlike the rest, which I know all the faults with. We don't need a mouse because this one hasn't got any hard drives in it. I think I won't bother with the operating system now. I'll bother with that later. I just want to get this thing to post. Yeah, so that's turned on. Okay, well, it turns on at least. Power supply is not baking hot. The RAM has got red lights on it. I don't know if that's bad or good. Okay, the back fan's spinning. The front fan is spinning very slowly, so it probably needs to be repaired. I think both these fans need to be replaced. CPU fans are both spinning, and we've got no activity, no post. So I'm not really sure where to go from this point here. Oh. Oh. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, sorry, that was the reset button I hit. Yeah, this is not posting. So I'm going to do the basic stuff, and we're going to basically start, because I don't like this RAM. I don't like Guile. I just don't like the look of it. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like the taste of it. I don't even like RAM. Guile. Yeah, look at this. Look at this quality. It's got a dragon or a phoenix on the back, or angel wings, whatever. Pfft. Pathetic. Real memory does not have any of that. Real memory is green and has chips on both sides. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna just presume both these sticks are dead, and I'm gonna stick one in one slot, one in the other, and we're gonna see what that does. See if I can even get them installed properly. There we go. That goes in there. That goes in that was supposed to go in there, but it doesn't fit for some reason. I don't know why. Why does it not go in there? I have no clue. Right, so place the RAM in the correct slot, well, one of the slots. We're going to plug AC power up here. It's either going to go, it's either going to work or it's not, so let's just power it up and see what happens. Oh, there we go, it's booting. So one of these sticks is working, the other one doesn't. Or one of these slots is good, the other one's bad. But there we go. Reboot, select proper boot device. There is no hard drives in here, so we can't do anything from this point onward. But ooh, nice and well. No, that's hot air because the case is warm. But yeah, this is brilliant. So this is now booting fine. So what value is this memory, anyways? Well, it's 4 GB. So we've got 4 gigs of RAM that's good, and then 4 that's potentially bad. I don't know. Alright, we're gonna turn that off. So what I've done is I've put 1 stick of memory back in, and that seems to have made all the difference. The PC now boots. So I suspect that this stick is bad, or the slot is bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the slot over, and then we're going to see how that turns out. So let's set the camera back down here. Of course you can't see anything I'm doing because the camera angles are rather poor, but I can tell you what I'm doing. So I am just opening the clips on the other side, and I'm basically just swapping the stick over. Oh dear. Yeah, it gets a bit stressful when you're balancing a monitor on top of your computer. Alright, so let's see if it boots up now. Now I've changed over the slot. Bear in mind, this one I haven't reset the BIOS on. Yeah, okay, no power on self-test with this one. Okay, so I think the slot is bad. One of these slots is not working. Which is fine, temporarily, but in the long run that's going to actually pose a problem. So we're going to probably replace the motherboard in this computer soon. I mean, it served its time. It's not a particularly interesting board either. It's just an old Asus motherboard with an AMD Athlon 2, I think. Is it an Athlon or is it a Phenom? Athlon 2, I was correct. Alright, so now I've installed that. This probably does prove that this memory stick is actually good, maybe? It's just the slot that's bad. So I'll set that off to the side. And we're just going to try it out one more time. One more time. And no, we're still getting nothing. Oh no, there we go. And then it comes up Asus Express Gate, all that jazz. M4A78LT MLE motherboard. Yeah, okay. Right, it's fine by me. It does just prove that the slot's bad, so in that case we've fixed this computer ourselves. That was a fairly nice, easy fix. Of course, everything's an easy fix. Get a soldering iron out, do some real fixes. Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry. If you're looking for that, go watch Lewis Rossman. Anyways, this computer is fixed, which is nice. So we can just put this one back together and set it off to the side, and I'll get the final PC on the pile out. This is the final computer on the pile. This is the TGM. It's been a prominent placeholder as being the most difficult PC I've ever had to handle, because it just doesn't like living. So today we're going to be switching its motherboard out with one that I've had lying around for a while. And maybe do some other modifications to it. I think there was a hard drive mod I wanted to do in here. Depends on if the HDD cable is in good health or not. I'm pretty sure it was broken last time I checked. That's a power supply fastener. So there is 5 screws holding this on. Just unscrew all that jazz, don't need any of that. This should just come off. So here's the computer itself. It's got an AMD Phenom 3200 Plus, I think, inside it. It's a fairly bog standard PC, and yes, it does have a functional IDE cable. Wonderful. That's actually brilliant. I was hoping that would be the case. So here it is. There's the TGM. I'm pretty sure its BIOS battery's dead. I mean, we can test it out because this is the only computer that actually kind of still works. So I'm gonna get the oh no. The monitor is now creating an obstruction. So I'm just going to move the monitor out to the camera's view. So let's just plug in VGA. And, well, since this has Windows already installed, you can plug in the keyboard and the mouse. Assuming that I'm actually recording. Yes. Yeah, gotta make sure sometimes. Don't want that instant to happen where I did a bunch of things and didn't press record. So, there we go. Okay, power it up. Now it's either gonna turn on immediately or it's not gonna work. Oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. The drives have come up. Floppy disks fail. Delete to enter the setup utility. Standard BIOS. Yeah, the battery's flat. It's December 16th, 2005. Now this thing's toast. It's a good thing that we're changing the motherboard up, so it wouldn't really bother, so that's fine. As far as I'm aware, that we're also not going to keep Windows 98 on this PC. So that'll be interesting. Either way, it's time to move on with this machine, so we're going to start disassembling it. So let's get these power cables unplugged. It's 4 pin 12 volt. Luckily I have a tool for instances like that. Where is it? Oh, come on, I can't have just lost it. It was like right here. Oh, hey, it's here. Okay. If all else fails, just use a pair of pliers, because Molex can be a bit of a stubborn mofo sometimes. And mostly because I haven't actually unplugged any of the cables at the front. This thing's gone through 2 motherboard replacements. Soon to be a 3rd. So we're just going to unplug all the cables and get them out of the way so that I can actually work here. Okay, power cables are out. Unplug the fan at the front. Unplug the floppy. Unplug the hard drive. And that's the power button wire, which I think I remembered I unplugged it a while back, but we're going to have to rip all those out as well. Front panel, speaker, IDE, get all that out of the way. Power, I think that's FDD, and finally IDE, which refuses to come out because it's buried under the hard drive. I don't know, let's just remove the motherboard and I'll unplug the keyboard. IDE cable after that. So where's my There it is. Right, where are the screws? We've got one here. And we're going to probably get rid of some of these screws because these all look chewed up and nasty. And we've got another one here. Well, I lost that one anyways, doesn't matter. It didn't mean anything to me. Besides, I've got like 80,000 different screws. I need to go hunt for some standoffs. Like, I think I've got a couple of computer chassis I'm going to be turning into a table at some point. See if there's any standoffs left in there. I know there's no other parts because I've nicked them all. In fact, this power supply came out well. In fact, the power supply that used to be in here was, I think it had a Zeus Storm power supply in here before. And then it went to a, well, yeah, it was a Suntech power supply before that. And then it was a, I keep forgetting. Yeah, Suntech, then it was Zeus Storm, or some other power supply company. And now it's a Colours IT. Colours IT are actually pretty decent for older power supplies, because I've never actually had one fail on me. So there's our motherboard out. It's an Asus MS7181 version 1. It's covered in crap, it's got bulge capacitors. This motherboard is on its last legs, so that's now out of the way. You can now remove all of the IDE cables, the ones I can see at least. These ones, well yeah, just get all the cables out of the way. Feed the power cable back to the front of the case. There we go. Lovely. So now we've got a nice clean area to work with. We're going to need our motherboard. Now the motherboard in question I've chosen was a car boot cell find. I can't actually remember when I bought this. I think it was last year. Yeah, last year before November probably. Here it is. It's a Winfast 741 MO1C GX6L. This is pretty much the same port layout as the MSI board, but regrettably I don't actually have an I/O shield for it, so this is also not going to have an I/O shield. Yeah, also all of the standoffs line up. That's pretty neat. Right, we're going to keep these 3 screws and we're going to get some new ones for the rest. If I can find them. Oh, they're up here. Epic. So that's that. So let's start plugging some new screws in. I'm going to make sure that the motherboard is lined up on its standoffs so that we can, well, lock it in place. One goes in that corner, and we're missing one screw, which we can just fetch out of this little pot of screws. A good pointer to make is if you're ever scrapping computers, normally some people just keep parts like the HDDs and the RAM. If they're custom built, steal the screws out of them, because they'll come in handy. This has actually come from I think about 5 years of tearing down custom made PCs for parts. So now, this is the fun part, this is wiring up the front panel harness. Now I love the TGM per se. This PC would have probably gone into the scrap heap if I wasn't there to save it. And I definitely saved this thing with full intent. I like this machine, I really do. This one, unlike the previous motherboard, has actually got an area on the board where it actually marks out where all the ports go. And it's got plus and minus as well, so what have we got here? HDD LED. So where's the single pin? Okay, HDD LED plus negative. So this would go here. Reset would go next to that. With great difficulty. And then power LED. Power LED also rolls over into where power switch is, which isn't good. Yeah, so we can't actually use the power LED unless I pull out the somehow pull out the little thing in there, the little connector. But no, we can't have a power LED, unfortunately. And then we've got the speaker. Doesn't state what the pinout on the speaker is. I'm gonna just assume it's this way around. If it doesn't work, we'll just spin the connectors around. Oh, the pins are bent. How lovely. I love getting motherboards when their pins are pre-bent. Not. Pull that out. And then, there we go. So that should be that done. Then we need the optical drives IDE. So that would plug in here, I think. Oh, there's no notch. I'm just going to assume where it goes in, because of course this has no notch, so it can't go in that way round. Yeah, it would go in this way round. But of course, in order for that to be possible, this is going to be plugged in. And then this. Yeah, you can see how complicated this PC gets to repair because of how cramped the case is. We blame the system's manufacturer TGM for that, which don't exist anymore. However, the company this PC came from, which is Emission, Safety and Security Devices, which sells CCTVs and stuff to businesses, their website's still up, but it hasn't been changed since 2006, so that's a great assumption that the company is probably dead now. So, yeah, we just feed the excess IDE cable into the bottom bay, feed that into there, feed this into the top one. Yeah, I put the IDE cable the right way round, because the pink stripe on the cable always faces the Molex port. something you've probably figured out today. So there's the IDE, at least one for the hard drive, which is in master, and this should feed into the, well, this should feed into a different drive, which should be sitting around there somewhere. But I haven't bothered to stick that one in yet, so we won't bother. And then we've got the floppy drive, or the floppy connector at least. Plug that into there. Fold that cable away. Yeah, the front panel on this is badly damaged. I might go over it with some glue and some, what's it called? Yeah, some special glue, and see if that fixes it. Super glue and baking soda. So let's put the power supply in. There is no need to use the 12 volt connector on this power supply for whatever reason. So we're going to fold that out of sight and therefore out of mind. Going to plug in the 12 volt, not the 12 volt, the 20 pin ATX connector around the back of the motherboard, which again just flawlessly goes in. A well-oiled machine. These two Molexes can be used for DVD drives. There's a SATA on here, but the SATA obviously isn't going to be used. Just the way I like it. So the SATA can just F off and hide in there, where no one has to see it. Right, then you've got your Molex for your floppy drive. Plugged in there. Hard drive power, and then this goes off into the other hard drive and the external case fan, the front case fan. So that plugs into there. Gotta remind myself to loosen that connector up. For the hard drive, that's going to go in here later down the line. But that's when it becomes an XP machine. Because, at the moment this is a Windows 98 PC, but it won't be for much longer. I've lost all the screws. I love it when this stuff happens. Well, of course, it's all very entertaining to the people watching, but not to me. This is a nightmare. But am I going to cry? Am I going to give up and say I'm not useful? No. I'm going to press on. Even if it does involve putting new screws where they originally weren't. This can go back in the shelf. I can't find the screw, so instead we're just going to replace it with a brand new one. We use this one because it's the same colour. Okay, cool. Right, we're also going to install 2 extra expansion cards that I found that actually used to belong to this system many years ago. There was a modem in here, and there was a USB card, so we can install those. Yeah. Perfect. And then there was a USB expansion card. And because I'm so confident that this repair is going to go ahead as planned, we're going to put the case back together. Now I've also needed to replace the BIOS battery, so we'll do that as well. It looks pretty good. I have no complaints. So yeah, on the side it says, well, you can't see it, but there's a little asset tag from emission. I bet they had a mission. Whether they accomplish that mission is another thing. Just gonna move some things around. Just to achieve maximum potential. Probably put some more tape over the front panel just to hold it in place. So now that's in place, you can screw the top back on. Yeah, some screws don't have any grip anymore because the case is worn away from how many times I've had to open it. But no matter what happens, this PC is still important to me. This is one of the earliest things in my collection. Even though all the screw posts are just long gone in here, I still love this thing. And it's hardly original. It's had so many bits replaced. In fact, the only things that are still original is the floppy drive, the CD-ROM drives, and the hard drives. Those are the only original parts in here. Oh, and the expansion cards I've just put back in. Right. Let's test her out, shall we? Also going to install this monitor so that you can see what's going on. If I just correct the tripod. There you go, should be able to see it now. Let's plug all the cables in, and fingers crossed we should see a post. Oh, plus I'm going to have to replace the little missing nuts on the back of the case. That's something that my motherboard didn't come with. All of its little, oops. Yeah, all of its little nuts for the things to screw into. Right, smoke test. There we go, beep, speaker, there we go, WinFast. And the hard drive, and the floppy drive still makes the little Great. Okay. That's all still original. All the drives are showing up. Press F1 to continue. DMI pool data update, Windows 98, boom. It's like nothing ever happened. And bearing in mind, we've just replaced the whole motherboard. And Windows 98, oh no, Windows protection error. Maybe not. So yeah, it kind of works, kind of doesn't. But we have replaced the whole motherboard, and that's all I really wanted to happen. I was sick and tired of the old one anyways. And this doesn't need to be the Windows 98 machine anymore, so we'll upgrade this one to Windows XP Professional. And there's a lot more to come from this one. So that's basically been an episode of Let's Fix It. So we tried to fix 5 computers. We've got some of them are successful, some of them aren't, but hey, that's how things happen, that's how the cookie crumbles. And I'm pretty happy, and I thank you all for watching, and comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.